Alright, what up though? So, my name is Docs.
My name is Candace Love.
We've been talking about doing this for like a year now. And this is not the normal demographic of a URL battle junkie. That would be me. Pretty much since before Smack turned to URL, since before Smack DVD era, me being from Jersey, from Newark, being an artist myself, I was in certain circles where we heard about, J Mills about to battle such and such, and we go across the bridge, go to Harlem, and try to see who's battling and things of this nature. So I've been in the culture as a student, a fan for a long ass time. Being married to this lovely young lady now, you start to involve your spouse in things that's interesting to you. You hope that they kind of like it. Like, she done got me into Survivor and all this extra stuff, right? But the only reason that has happened, because, R.I.P. to Tech 9, she had some familiarity with BattleRap because Tech 9 was such a explosive figure, and she remembers hearing that name, seeing some of them battles.
Yeah, Tech 9 was my favorite at that time, but I knew who Murder Mook was, I knew who Arsonal was, but Tech 9 was just my person at that time.
So she had caught wind of the culture, but of course she wasn't in it like most of us have been in it. So when we got together, one of our things, and mind you, I'm a meditation teacher, I'm a counselor, she's also a counselor, an emotional alchemist. I'm a completely different version of myself than I used to be, but one of the things that still keeps me connected to just regularity is battle rap. I love battle rap, I love basketball. So this channel is called Teaching My Wife Battle Rap. When we started to think of that idea, she was a complete novice. She got some stains in the game at this point. She got about a year in, heavily watching battle rap, going back to old battles, like really being a student. So this is our first event that we kind of recapping today. So we're not gonna hold y'all. All right, so let's get right into it. You got anything you want to say?
Nah, I'm just, after a nigga battle me, I make him feel wet, okay? Because there's a difference between metaphors and real rap. That's all I gotta say. I'm ready.
I did good, right? Battle rap culture approves of the job I've done. All right, so with that being said, we probably going to title this when we put it up on YouTube. Again, the channel is Teaching My Wife Battle Rap. But I think we should title this episode, Is Cal the GOAT? We'll get to that in a second. We're going to go through the battles that really count. I know there's a bunch of battles today. We're not going to go through all of those for the sake of time. We're going to try to keep these to like 10 to 15 minutes.
Right.
So the first battle we want to talk about, even though it was a thrown-in light work battle, of course, Arsonal and KCJ.
Yes. And KCJ is from Texas. I don't know what part of Texas
I don't think
from.
it's Houston, but yeah, she's definitely from Texas.
And I'm from Houston, so KCJ is automatically that person in my book.
She probably gonna see this because you bad as hell, and they don't usually see this in
I hope
battle
so.
rap coverage.
I love KCJ.
So Casey, what up?
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into the specifics, into the bars of it. There may be occasions where we do get bar heavy in the recaps, but most of what we want to bring to the table is the psychology of battle rap. And the psychology, not just from me being a student of it, but from the feminine perspective. And a lot of times, I forgot who said it. You got battle rap bitches or something like. I think Goods or somebody said that. But that the women in the culture got a certain perspective. To get that perspective from somebody that's new to the culture and is not the normal demographic of the women that like battle rap, even though that's changing. Our channel is gonna be more so dedicated to the psychology of it. So with that being said, I told you I wanted to ask you a question that I was gonna save for right now.
We did.
If y'all saw the event, y'all know what happened. If y'all didn't, again, light work battle, 90-second rounds. Arsonal was wilding on Casey in the first round. Casey was fired too.
Right.
But we know Arsonal got that rapid ass fire flow that works for 90-second rounds. By the second round, Casey turned up. Arsonal still did good, but he choked.
Right.
The last round, Casey turned up again, went off on this nigga. Arsonal choked so bad that he had to go to his phone.
Right.
While they filming, and was literally trying to open his phone for like a good 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody laughing. He like, nah, I'm gonna get through it.
Hands in his face, struggling.
Go ahead.
And that's the other thing too. He choked in the third, and he had slight stumbles in the second, which would look like maybe he was catching his breath, or maybe it would look like he was laughing, but if you're really paying attention, they were slight stumbles.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question being that Arsonal was one of the first battle rappers I showed you, and from Rick, you was like, he nice, but I don't like that nigga.
Yeah.
Tell them initially why you were saying you ain't like him before I ask you this question.
So, you know, years ago, when I first was put on to battle rap, in the short time span I knew of Arsonal, but I just, you know, it just wasn't my thing. I'm an R&B singer. I'm a singer. So battle rap was not my thing. But once my husband started teaching me, schooling me, and I'm a student learning, the main reason why I couldn't get with Arsonal is because I'm cute, but I'm also from the hood. So in my heart, I didn't believe him. And that just kind of is what it is. So it's like, you cold, you fire, but I don't believe you. And for your bars to land, I need to know that you was really doing the shit that you was talking about. I need to believe that you were actually doing these things. And my purpose is not to take away from anybody's street credibility, but a part of the psychology of making the audience like you or love you is the fact that you can be believable. And so I didn't believe him.
And mind you, she didn't know shit. She had heard the name Arsonal. She didn't know shit about Arsonal. The first battle I showed her was a classic, Arsonal versus QP. If y'all ain't see that battle, go check it out. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago. She fell in love with QP because the wittiness, the funny factor, but at the end of the day, his natural believability. And at a certain point, like Arsonal was going off in that battle. They both did. Of course, most people got QP. But Arsonal was going crazy.
Right.
And she like, nah, he can rap. But she turned to me, she's like, do he really be doing this shit he be talking about? And I don't know Arsonal personally. You know, we both from Newark and stuff like that. But to a large degree, we know Arsonal is more so about the showmanship. Putting the bars together, the aggression, of course, the disrespect.
And he's an entertainer.
And he's an entertainer. And when I broke that down to her, she was like, yeah, because I just don't believe that nigga. Like, it was natural and innate what she just kind of knew. So with that being said, the question I got, being that you know Arsonal is one of the greats, even though you felt like that about him, even though you still do, did seeing him in that light today, because you've never seen him not be professional, not at least get through his shit, whether you felt like he won or not, you're like, nah, Ars is still that nigga.
Right.
Did it bring him down a peg as far as his status to see him like that?
It humanized him in a way that I did not want him to be humanized. I don't want to. I don't want to see Arsonal be humanized. And so we'll get into this later, as far as like when you see somebody that you have on a pedestal, even though Arsonal is not like my top. We all know Cal my number one, just so we clear. Even though Ars is not my top, I do respect what he does and what he offers and what he brings to the table. Right. He's still that nigga in what he does. But when you see somebody humanized in that way, the pedestal does lower, because now I see embarrassment, now I see confusion, I see human traits that initially when Ars is just going off being disrespectful, you don't really get to see any human traits. It's just my gut that picked up on, I just don't believe this nigga did half of that shit. Right. But the part where I see him embarrassed, that broke my heart to a certain degree. Right. It made me like, come on, Ars, like call it, right? Because that's what we were saying, like nigga, just say time. And I wanted him to say time so I didn't have to feel the secondhand embarrassment. So yes, it doesn't change who he is, in my opinion, or what he has brought to the table, but it does make him seem human. It makes him feel touchable. So does that make you connect to him more? Like in the next battle, will you be rooting for Arsonal now? I don't want to connect to Arsonal in that. I want Arsonal to show up and keep being that nigga. Yeah. It's just like how I said with Easy. I don't want Easy to be touchable. I don't want to hear Easy say nothing. Easy is her second favorite. Yeah, at Easy is certain point, it was her first. Right. Yeah. Easy is my second favorite. And so when you are touchable, when you are humanized in that way, it does change how strong your pedestal is. So in the next battle, no, it's
You're
not.
still not gonna be rooting
No,
for him?
I mean, I'm not rooting for him,
Yeah.
and I'm not rooting for him. I just don't want him. I don't want him to go lower.
Okay.
I don't want him to fuck up more.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna be rooting against him.
All right. So two more questions for this battle. We'll go to the next. Second question is, what do you think it was about that moment that made him not only fuck up? Again, it's a light work battle that's just kind of been thrown into the mix. Wasn't even promoted. So it's not a lot riding on this battle. He's battling KCJ, like she's cool, but it's not gonna affect ours.
Right.
What do you think it was about that moment that made him go to the phone and struggle to that degree?
Yeah, I think the ego of him knowing who he is. Like, he knows I'm Arsonal. I can prepare. And he said, when he was talking to New
I was
Louis,
prepared.
he said I was prepared, but I don't believe that.
Mm.
I don't believe that. I believe that a part of his ego was like, oh shit, nigga, this all we need. Like, we gonna be good
Gotcha.
regardless. So the ego of him knowing who he is, knowing what he brings to the table, you may be prepared, but not prepared if you were going against a top tier nigga.
Right.
If you was going against a top tier nigga, the preparation would have been a lot different than it was, in my opinion, him going against KCJ.
Okay. Any bars stand out to you?
No. Other than the meatballs.
Spaghetti night? Okay. And then last question. Is there anything about KCJ that you could point to of why so many niggas stand in front of her and choke?
You know, and so I just want to be clear, I'm still a student, so there's certain things I'm still learning, and something that you pointed out to me, like the eyes. However, I don't want the eyes to take away from the fact that KCJ is just cold.
Yeah.
And what I can say is she's consistent, right? And she's not intimidated by the fact that you're disrespectful. She's not intimidated by the fact that you Arsonal, you're a legend in the game. She came to do her work, to show up, to be that person. And so I think that's basically it for her. I think she just was not intimidated. Like, she came to get what she came to get. And I was really excited to see how happy she was.
Yeah.
She was really excited. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it is something, because even though it's a joke, before we move to the next battle about don't look in KCJ's eyes, I remember one of Arsonal's best performances in the last couple years, him battling Official. I don't know if you saw that battle. I think it was like last year, but he like dog walked the shit out of Official. And from that point, Official just ain't been the same. But Official was way bigger than KCJ. And as Ars is like barking on her rapid fire flow, like Official was kind of like wilting a little bit. She kind of wasn't looking Ars in his eyes, like kind of looking away. So normally when he get that, nigga, you not phasing me, but it's from a dude. And usually he's the nigga that takes chicks' heads off.
Yeah.
So for KCJ to, you know, he was going in and she just, with them big ass green eyes, like, nigga, what? Like, what we doing?
Unfazed.
That shit kind of threw him a little bit. And that's, I feel like, what made him stumble a little bit in a second. And then, you know, with battle rap, it don't matter who you are. Once you get that slippy, blippy shit, you start to lose that momentum. And third round, it was a wrap.
Yeah, agreed. She just wasn't phased by, like, nigga, you Arsonal on KCJ. And what? What we doing? What we talking about?
And you was debating if he didn't choke, would she have won? We still had it 1-1 going into the third. And her third was her best round. Like, she wrote up. So we can't even, like, really just say if he ain't choked, he would have won. I think it would have still been at least debatable.
I agree.
Okay.
I do agree.
All right, next battle. Moving right along. I always used to be like, why niggas can't just remember who battled? Now I'm doing this shit. And I get it now. All right, so yeah, Verb and Shotgun.
Oh, man, okay. So what, you want to go or you want me to go? You got
Who you got?
I got Verb.
Verb what? 2-1, 3-0? What we talking about?
I have Verb 3-0.
You got Verb 3-0?
I have
The last round too?
And this is why.
All right.
Okay, so yes, the purpose of battle rap, and so everybody has their different things, and this is why when y'all be having freeway judging, okay, and freeway just be like hemming and hawing and shit. Everybody judges, everybody judges differently, but damn.
Yeah.
So the way that I judge this battle is, I felt like Suge was nice. I'm not taking away from how nice he was. I'm not taking away from how great he is, because he's also one of the names that I've always heard about.
And mind you, she just gave him all the credit in the world for what he did to Chess. So.
Right, yeah. So Suge is Suge. Like, Suge is still that nigga. But for whatever reason, in comparison to Verb, it looked
elementary,
like a character.
Yeah.
It looked like he was playing a role. And so you even saw, like, even when Verb started talking, like, come in all smooth and shit, you know, like he progressed into his character, which still sounded like him. It still sounded like how he talks when he's on his podcast.
Blacking on people, yeah.
Right, yeah. And so it was natural, as opposed to when Suge would start, he would go straight into character, and it just felt very unnatural to me. It felt like it was rehearsed. It felt like it was practiced. I know they rehearsed. I know they practiced, but it didn't feel like that's who he was on a personal level. And so it just wasn't believable. And my thing is, if psychology is a huge part of battle rap, I have to believe you. And nigga, if you just starting and you automatically out the gate, you yelling, you hype, there's no riffs in the tone, there's no change in, you know, your delivery. I just cannot believe that. It doesn't feel natural to me. And the reason I gave it to Verb, outside of both of them just being cold in their bars, Verb was natural. He was more believable, and he blacked. He blacked out on him.
Yeah, I agree. I got Verb 2-1 clear. Like, a lot of you niggas is weird. Not even that y'all weird. I feel like y'all either young, y'all new to battle rap, or you a certain like frequency of listener and watcher. And no disrespect, everybody at different levels, but a lot of y'all niggas like simple stuff that you could just catch right in the moment. A lot of y'all like to feel like, oh, I caught it. I caught it right now. I don't want to have to work and play that back, because that makes niggas feel stupid when they don't catch it at first. So even if you don't get some of the simple stuff, some of the simple rappers say, you just act like you get it. So any battle rapper that appeases that, that's really what y'all be meaning, what the culture means by smack rappers or URL rappers. Niggas that's aggressive, that's violent, that got accessible bars, even if y'all punch and witty and stuff like that. Anything outside of that, you'll see it in the comments, you'll see it in the votes. Y'all always vote against the person with an original style. And this is like the closest we seen to Guardian Angel Verb in a minute. Like, them first 2 rounds, it was nothing to debate for me. Suge, second, he went up a notch. But Verb just still came in with that smooth ass, I'm not phased, and then the diversity of the content. At the end of the day, and even what she was saying about you didn't believe Suge, she was saying it's not that I don't feel like he was a street nigga. We know Suge certified, right? But it's the character you're portraying in battle rap. She like, I felt like I was just watching Verb happening to battle rap. Where Suge is like, you put on the battle rap suit instead of just being yourself. And with that being said, you got that on top of the monotony of the content. You're gonna tell me how much you're gonna shoot me, you're gonna tell me how much drugs you move, you're gonna tell me your street history. Verb do a little bit of that shit too, but it's so many other different nuances to the content. Simple shit like what you what do you say? What you gross off the net is gross, or some shit.
Yeah.
It's not a punch. It's not even necessarily like braggadocious shit. It's just showing you levels to manhood. Fuck the battle rap shit. Fuck how many guns we bust, how many people beat up. I'm more of a grown ass man than you. That shit matters to grown ass men. And there's still some grown ass men that's still simple, that's still connected to the streets. But I ain't in that category no more. I'm 41 years old. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That shit corny to me. You can still do it in a way where I appreciate the talent of it, but putting Suge in front of that type of Verb, that shit just didn't match up. But Suge last round was crazy. Verb had some stumbles. So I'm gonna give Suge probably the last round, but I got Verb 2-1.
And the last thing I wanted to say was, remember when you were asking me to explain deeper what I meant by I felt like he was playing the character? And the example I gave was, if you tell a little kid, act like a battle rapper, how does a battle rapper act? And a little kid just goes straight into performance. That's what I got from Suge, which just took away from me being able to digest what he was saying, how he was saying, and how he was portraying it. felt like a real performance, and I wasn't entertained.
And you don't even know this, but like, let's keep it a buck. A lot of us that follow this culture, in some way, shape, or form, we was in the streets to some degree, whether you was a kingpin or a petty hustler, whatever it was. We had some level of that. I ain't gonna say where I was, but Suge started out, and one of the biggest gripes about him was that most of his fire material was movie shit. He would just scheme a bunch of hood movies, and at a certain point, it got so monotonous that he had to like fall back and kind of redo his style, and he stopped doing the movie shit. So when you say you feel like even a nigga like Suge that is certified a street nigga is acting, going back to him watching those same movies as a kid, probably before he ever knew he would be a battle rapper, that's still playing out. Because it's like so ingrained into his consciousness, like, I have to be this type of nigga to get my point across in this battle rap field. So, but yeah, we both got Verb, easy. I mean, I don't even feel like it's debatable, but you know, y'all niggas is weird. Last battle, I don't gotta look at the phone for that. Shout out to Arsonal. No disrespect, Jersey, North all day, it was a bar. The boy, Calicoe.
Cal and Clips.
Who you got?
Of course I got Cal. 3-0.
3-0?
And let me just say this. Cause y'all gonna stop disrespecting Cal and acting like he ain't that.
What was
nigga.
the bar? It's on your phone?
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Hold on, I gotta look it up. Hold on.
The flow hard. Why niggas sleep on it?
Y'all better stop playing with that, man. God doggy.
The flow hard. That's why niggas sleep on it.
Yeah, so I had Cal 3-0. It's so many. Cal gonna be Cal. He gonna show up. He gonna do his part. And I love that he started off saying like, nigga, you can say all that funny shit, but I ain't here to play with you. And that set the tone for exactly how that battle went. People are going to have to start holding Clips accountable because I, as a newbie fan, felt disrespected by the fact that you playing and you are using your humor to get you through, because you know that the simple people who want the simple bars, that are only able to digest the simple bars and think that since you got the whole crowd to laugh, that you just won a round, or that you got the battle of the night, or that you just won the battle. And so it's disrespectful to people who are actually paying attention to what are real bars. And it's not to say that Clips wasn't fired, that he did not have great things, because Clips is gonna be Clips. He's great at what he does.
No doubt.
But to rest on that and to not really show up and do what Cal did is just almost disrespectful, because it's like, are you trying? Was this the best that you could do? Or are you actually just resting on your humor and allowing that to get you the win from people who are gonna easily give it to you?
Yeah, I don't think Clips really knew how to approach a nigga like Cal. Because Clips have been on the roll. Like, at a certain point, people had him being champion of the year, and then he just didn't take a battle for a minute. This may be his first battle since he bodied Yoshi, if I'm not mistaken. But I ain't even gonna say Clips was fired this battle. Clips was low-key kind of cringy, kind of trash. It kind of he was a little more organized than he was during that run where I told you he just didn't care. He was collecting checks and just freestyling through battles. He's so talented. He can do that, as we saw again today. But low-key, this is like the embarrassing Clips that I didn't want to watch during that run where he just didn't care. He's just probably better at it now. But y'all can't, in one hand, give DNA all the shit y'all gave him for DNA. We know you're not busting no guns. Like, you got to stop rapping about this shit, to the point where he went on a whole no gun bar campaign. And this is when people say, all right, nah, DNA is legit, when he started to be himself to the degree Geechee called him a Gary, and he ran with it. He like, nigga, I'm Gary. I don't got no guns. None of that shit. That's when we appreciated DNA the most. Eventually, he went back to the gun bar shit. But if we're gonna do that with DNA to a certain degree, we can't let Clips do 3 rounds. Of course, it's part of battle rap. Niggas gonna work in their gun bar shit. But this nigga literally had 3 rounds of shit he has never done in his life, will never do, and everybody knows he has never done.
And Cal pointed that out so many times.
This is why I felt like Cal kept laughing, because it was one, like nigga, y'all like this shit, but at the end of the day too, he understands that this is what Clips is good at. He said Clips is a master manipulator.
And he is.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't even think he was trying to be disrespectful. He wasn't even really talking. Clips kept saying, stop talking through my rounds.
And Cal wasn't even talking like that. He was just like, these niggas eating this shit.
Right. Everybody does that. At a certain point, he's like, Clips, I ain't even say nothing. And Clips was staggering so much.
Through my rounds. Stop talking through my rounds.
He had to go to Jazz and try to redirect his last 8 to 12 bars. And the crowd went crazy. He had the biggest moment of the second round. None of that shit was for Cal.
And that was my thing. It's like, who are you battling right now? Like, what are we doing? Because none of what you were talking about was towards Cal or for Cal.
Right.
And then when you finally did have things about Cal, so no angles.
Right.
The only angle he had was the fact that the skinny dipping shit,
right.
That was the only angle. Everything else was just like stuff he probably already had written down, right, that he just like added that angle into it. And then the last angle that he had in the last round was a Cal against a Clip, which is like,
bruh,
that's all
bruh,
you could come up with.
Bruh.
And my thing is Clips.
And y'all niggas fell for that
like,
shit.
stop playing with me. That's all you could come up with. And so you were able to make certain things hit. But like, that's all you could come up with. And you got Cal coming with angle after angle after angle. He just fire, and everything that he does is just lazy.
Right.
To only have those types of angles. And then start talking to Jazz. And then you start talking to the crowd and just having all of this humorous stuff. Humor is great. What had attracted me to most battle rappers is the fact that they had the capacity to be humorous.
No doubt.
But to rest on that, because you know that is what's gonna let you slide through the battle, I can't respect it.
Right, and then on top of that, like to me at this point, and you know I'm a fan of like pins, niggas with like legit pins. Mm-hmm. Daylight, Lux is pretty much my 1 and 1A, interchangeable depending on the day. I like niggas who actually have a pen, who have the total package, not just pens, but niggas that predominantly are able to like create universes with their mind with the words. But for me at this point, and you've made me appreciate Cal a lot more, like for a long time I hated Cal because Lux was my favorite and you know that whole Lux Cal shit. But at this point, Cal is in the running for a GOAT or the GOAT. And honestly, the most important, probably most powerful line ever said in battle rap is courtesy of Cal. I forgot what battle it was. Y'all can put it in the comments if y'all remember. Yeah, you rap good, but I ain't lied yet. Mm. That shit works, that Clips does, and a lot of y'all niggas do in front of Cal. It works with everybody else. You get in front of a nigga like Cal, and he don't get credit for how witty he is, how much of a pen he has, but all of his pen shit is intertwined into actual real shit, real angles, documented shit. He not just making a bunch of shit up to get to a punch to excite the crowd. And the way he do it, he know half of y'all niggas not gonna catch, half of y'all niggas not gonna appreciate, half of y'all is not grown ass men enough to understand this wasn't about a punch right here. This is grown man shit. Not even his street shit. It's not street shit just for the sake of street shit. It's still grown man stuff. Yeah. So to like they say styles make fights. I feel like Clip style got exposed. And this wasn't even the best Cal we seen. This was like chilling Cal.
Yeah, he was chilling.
And he still effortlessly to me just dismantled everything Clips does. Yes. I know y'all had Clips winning on the vote, which I knew y'all would. I told you they gonna pick Clips. But if you somebody that really understands the culture, the lyrics, the grown manness of all this shit, it's not even close. Like that was literally embarrassing to watch.
It was.
On Clips' part.
Especially when by the time we got to the third round, I was like, okay, he's wasting our time at this point. He's wasting our time because you can tell, even though Cal was chilling, he's still prepared. Like that professionalism of preparing. It's not enough to just be able to have rebuttals and be able to freestyle your way through it. You could tell Cal actually prepared, and everything that he said is gonna always be true.
Right.
And so for Clips to just rest on that humor again, and then it was very cringy. But hold up, this is the part that I wanted to touch on. This is how you dismantle Clips. You have to embarrass him and you have to get under his skin. And so Clips tries to make it seem like when you speak about his dad, it doesn't bother him.
It does.
So he'll even like in, I think it was his second round, he was like, I already knew you was gonna say something about my dad. Like, but it still bothers him because his whole demeanor changes.
And the rebuttal was trash.
The rebuttal was trash, and so everything about him is humor. So once that humor go out the window, quit talking through my rounds. And Cal's smart. Cal uses this reverse psychology against these niggas, and they don't even be realizing what he's doing. So stop talking against my rounds. You already got under his skin. He's annoyed. He is upset. But then you also speak about his dad. Watch his facial expressions. Watch his body language change. You can see he's computing how he feels, and you can see that it's showing up on his face. Clips can't hide how he feels.
Right.
And so if you embarrass him, and I can't remember the other battle that I saw that you showed me where he was very visibly.
Lux.
Is that when they had
Lux
the paperwork?
brought the paperwork, yeah.
Visibly embarrassed. And so the psychology behind, you can make people laugh, but if I see that he just embarrassed you, I don't give a damn about what humorous thing you just said. He just embarrassed you. It got under your skin, which means that there is something to that. And so the armor that you have on, the character that you're portraying, he poked holes in it. And so it doesn't even matter at this point. And so Cal did what I wanted him to do. He poked a hole in his armor.
Right.
He embarrassed him, and he was visibly embarrassed. His body language changed, and he got under his skin. Because he was able to do that, this cool nigga who in Chris Brown house, making all the bitches laugh, chest all crunk and shit.
Disappeared.
All of that.
Facts.
A person who is skilled at being cool. When you able to take that armor away, it don't matter what he says. You just took his armor off. And now I can see the little boy, the child who is embarrassed by the fact that his dad did do these things. And he has a life of having to answer for the fact that his dad did these things. And he has to answer for it in front of all of these people. That is a little kid that shows when you see that embarrassment on his face.
And it's like, and then with this, these will be our final statements, but like Clips is so talented at thinking on the spot. Like I had just showed Wifey the little 8-minute back and forth between him and AR-16 when they was out there with Uncle Rod. They just off top. Like Clips is the GOAT when it comes to that shit. So that on top of now us seeing him this uncomfortable, like that was Clips' worst moment ever against Lux. When all of that had transpired, he came back the next round to rebuttal what Cal made fun of today, which was, if your daddy is, my daddy is snitch, your daddy is snitch too. That was Clips' worst moment ever in battle rap. Like you could tell that shit had really affected him. So for him to bring it up in this moment, that wound got opened back up. When people just talk about Clips' dad in a way that's not unique, it don't affect him. And he's gonna bust your ass with the rebuttals. He was stumbling because that shit had fucked him up, but he's so good at it. And Clips has the cachet of the fan base where it's like, all right, if any other battle rapper is stumbling, they're gonna be nervous because it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna land this shit. We almost give him trust in his own shit because he knows if he give you a little bit of shit, it's gonna have an eruption in the room. So he don't have that same nervousness trying to find his way to the punch. It was one time he went like 8-12 bars just trying to fish for something to get to. He got there eventually. Normal battle rapper don't have that cachet. So during that 8 to 12 bars, you're nervous. So it's like this dichotomy that Cal kind of exposed of. Yeah, it looks like he's swimming through this shit, but if you really understand psychology, facial expressions, vocal tone, all these different things, that nigga was fucked up. And that's why Stop Talking Through My Rounds was so difficult for him. Where Cal highlighted it the last round. Yo, stop talking through my rounds jokingly, but he's still rapping. He not complaining about it. He not stopping the battle. And then the other thing is Clip rapped 6-minute rounds. Cal even told him at the end of the second round, nigga, I'm straight to the point.
Like, so even Clips got mad because I think somebody in the audience told Cal it won't be enough. And Cal was like, I got straight to the point. Like, it is enough. But Clips got mad because Cal like, you ain't gotta prove that, you ain't gotta say that to her. And so it's like, you don't want Cal to say nothing. So he can't, first he not talking through the rounds. So he's just shaking his head like, okay, nigga, whatever. So he's not talking through your rounds, but when he finally does say something, you don't want him to say anything. And that's how I know that Cal got under his skin.
Yeah.
Because anything Cal did, he wouldn't stop talking through my rounds. You ain't got to prove nothing to her. She in the audience. He ain't like that.
Yeah, and I always factor that into my point system. If you can get to your point effectively in less time, I think Suge said it against Verb. Verb always said, the 3-minute rounds part of his slogan. But he said 3-minute rounds, they could book me for half the time. I cook them at half the time like an air fryer, right? Mm-hmm. I give niggas credit when they can do that. Like y'all tore Mook apart for having a 20-minute final round against Verb, right? We can't pick and choose or who we gonna give credit, who we gonna take it away from. So yeah, Clips got 6-7 minute rounds where he fishing. Cal got 3.5 minute rounds and still effortlessly kind of dog walk Clips.
Right.
If you want to, you can maybe debate the third round, but I still got Cal 3-0 easily. Like it was just too much exposure. From what Cal does and who he is to that imaginary shit that Clips just be making up to get to a punch.
Yeah, because how much of that was actually about Cal?
None of it.
And so the thing is, my hope is that people start really acknowledging that he is resting,
right.
that he is chilling and bamboozling
right.
so many
right.
people, especially the fans who think that he really just did something. It's up to the commentators and other battle rappers to acknowledge, like, nah, nigga, you gonna have to come harder than that. Like,
right.
it's not enough. That shit wasn't. And that's, the girl should have been talking to him. She telling Cal it ain't enough. She should have been talking
right.
to Clip's ass.
Right.
Because that shit was not enough.
Yeah. So that's our first one in the clip. Teaching My Wife Battle Rap is the channel. Of course, we'll get more into other battles. Why Cal is the GOAT to her. Kind of becoming a GOAT for me. I don't know if I could ever give him the GOAT, but he making the case. But yeah, look out for more content from us. Let us know what you feel, what we can do different, what y'all digging, and yeah, we here now, man.
After a nigga battle me, I make it because it's the difference between metaphors and real rap.
Fact.
Landslide, nigga. Or what else they be saying? Fuck is you talking about?
You finally get to say it.
I finally get to say it.